Welcome to Beyond the Game, Wealth Mastery for Athletes. I'm Kris Benson, private equity real estate investor, and I'm joined by 9-year NFL vet Alec Ogletree. Beyond the Game is a podcast where we will provide a playbook for financial growth both on and off the field. Join us each week as we'll have in-depth conversations with other pro athletes as they walk us through how they've created wealth beyond the game, both on and off the field. They're going to share their triumphs, lessons learned, and setbacks along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes. Join us. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. All right, guys, today on Beyond the Game, we had Mack Brown, not the ex-Texas football coach, but the NFL player. Mack grew up here in Georgia, played at University of Florida, and spent 5 years in the NFL. The three things that really stood out to me in Mack's interview was, number one, the man is back to school getting his PhD. He's going to be Dr. Brown in not too long. Just really a grinder and very interested in continuing to improve himself. A lot of great knowledge there. Number two, he flips houses. He's been a very successful real estate house flipper and is now going into some larger developments. Great stories around that. And number three, I asked him if he had to be attacked and win a fight against either 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck, which did he choose? You'll find out in this next episode. Mack Brown, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Mack, I'm going to blow your mind with the first question of the day. If you were attacked by you were attacked by either, these are the choices you have, 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck, and they're going to kill you. So you have one, you have to choose either or, and not only do I want to hear the either or, but why you would choose what you would choose. You got it?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd rather be attacked by one horse-sized duck.
Dude, that's like a dragon.
Yeah, but for me, I'd rather get over it quick.
What do you mean? You're just going to let it kill you?
Yeah, I mean, if I got...
You're just giving up? That's a terrible answer.
I don't want to die, but I'm saying if I get attacked, I'd rather let it get over with. One swallow, I'm done. But... You know, like 100 ducks, that size of a duck.
100 horses that are the size of a duck.
That's going to hurt.
Well, it could.
That's going to hurt. You
got to have a strategy either way. This is how I think about it is 100 duck-sized horses are going to swarm you. And if they get you on the ground, then you get those little hoofs.
That's why.
And they stomp you. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
One horse-sized duck feels like, but that's big. They're flying around. And that's like a flying dragon.
But question is, can I get away from either or I won't get away?
What do you mean? You tell me. Can you run away from a flying horse-sized duck?
I believe I can. One-on-one? I mean, no matter how big or small they are, I'm going to get away. Well, 100 of them?
100 horses are fast. Like, they're the same, still horses. They're just small.
But if it was only one, I'm good.
But that's a duck. He can fly.
Hey, I'm ready.
All right. Listen, we started Beyond the Game with a bang there. So, Mack, I appreciate you taking the time. So, Alec today is going to jump in remote. He's a few minutes late, so once he jumps on, we should be in good shape. Here's what I'd love to do today is just walk us through a little bit about playing career first, and then we'll transition to kind of where you are today. The goal of these podcasts always is to walk away with a few lessons that 21-year-old Mack can take and apply to his life, right? And, Beyond the Game is about creating this community where people can learn from others and their failures and their successes and hopefully apply that in their own life. So walk me through. You grew up here in Georgia. You know Alec, obviously, because you guys all came out basically the same time.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up between Decatur and Stone Mountain.
Okay.
So I was born in Decatur, and I went to high school in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Okay. Yeah. Football forever since you were little?
Well, like I said again, so... When growing up, I thought I was Deion Sanders. So, I have, primetime email from Yahoo. I have a baseball helmet spray painted with primetime on it. So, I played baseball and football.
Okay.
High school. When I got to high school, I started, dominating the game.
Yeah.
So, my dad was like, you know what? You can't keep doing two sports. You need to play, play football, run track, keep your speed up. So, he made me quit baseball. Baseball was
Dad.
It was my first love, for sure.
Did you have a shot?
You know what? At Reading High School, so if a lot of people that's watching this, if y'all familiar with Reading High School,
okay,
Reading is one of the top schools in the state for baseball.
Okay.
Brandon Phillips, PJ Phillips, they went to the major leagues. So I don't know if I had a shot in, making it to the pros, but I pretty sure I could have went D1 playing baseball.
You still blame your dad for that?
No, I don't blame him.
I would, for sure. I'd be like, Dad, I could have. I told my mom I made the 6th grade basketball all-star team, and they made me quit because I played hockey and basketball and both winter sports.
Oh, winter sports, yeah.
So my mom made me choose one, and I tell her today, I was like, who knows what could happen?
Steph Curry, huh?
I think I probably know what the outcome is. All right, so grew up playing both sports. When did you know? Like, when did you know from an athletic standpoint, you know, you had a shot at either high-level collegiate play or, you know, maybe in the back of your mind, you're thinking Deion Sanders. Was there a moment like at a camp or a coach told you?
I really found out in middle school. It was 7th grade, and we was playing this team called Old National.
Okay.
And I played a part called Central DeKalb. Central DeKalb Jaguars put out over 75 professional athletes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. And before the game started, it was a big accident on the highway.
Okay.
So when we started the game, it was only 4 starters on offense. And it's like
4?
It's 4, no joke. Like, so we had to put one of our linebackers at quarterback. So I remember in the huddle, I was telling my guys, I said, like, listen, this is 7th grade though, like serious. I was like, listen, as long as I get the ball, I'll keep us in the game. I said, just give me the ball. And I remember like end of the first quarter, I dove for a first down and it was over 4 yards and I landed.
Yeah.
Like I dove from like 2nd and 6 and I landed at a first down mark. And when I did that land, after that I was like, oh, this is different. You know, and this is the championship game. Next play I broke for 80. So for me, it was like in 7th grade I knew because after the game, people started interviewing me. Fans in the stands like, hey, Mack, you amazing. Can you sign this? And I'm like, this is 7th grade. So I got a big article written up on me after my 7th grade season. And that's when I knew, like, I got a chance I could really play football at a big level.
So walk me through college recruiting. So as I'm assuming as you go from middle school into high school, you're starting to get those recruiting looks. Yeah. Who are you looking at? Like, where are the schools that you're looking at?
So actually, you know, 10th grade, well, not 10th grade, my senior year, me and Alec, we had like a bond. We was like, you know, let's both go to Georgia. It was me, Alec, and this guy named Rick Rogers that went to Tennessee.
Okay.
We was like, we the top 3 guys in the state of Georgia. Let's go to Georgia together. So when I was getting recruited, I was looking at Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Oklahoma, and Tennessee.
Okay.
Those are my top 5. Actually, oh, my bad, not Tennessee. Tennessee, but I had top 6 in Florida State.
Okay.
So, you know, my dad's from Gainesville. Well, he's from Ocala. So my dad wanted me to go to Gainesville.
Dad ruined it again.
Yeah, he wanted me to go to Gainesville bad. I won't lie to you. It was bad because I really wanted to go to Georgia at one time. Yeah. But I'm thankful I went to Florida because of the relationships I built and just the networking and just the games I played in with the Florida Gators. I love that I went to Florida. But
were you still trying to go both ways in college too?
You know what? Playing baseball?
No, on both sides of the ball. Were you playing offense, defense too,
no,
or just running back?
I was playing running back.
Okay,
in college.
Got it.
Yeah, that's it. It's running back.
I don't know if Deion Sanders, if that translated the whole way through.
Oh no! When I say Deion, I'm saying Deion far as like baseball and football.
Yeah. Got it. All right. So you go to Florida. You had a very successful career there.
Nah.
No.
No.
Why? What happened?
So see, this is gonna get deep right here. So I only scored a total of 3 touchdowns my whole college career.
Wow.
My freshman year, we had Urban Meyer. I was doing great with Urban Meyer. And after this season, remember Urban Meyer ended up retiring.
Yeah.
But you know, in college football...
Health concerns.
Yes. So, you know, college football is like whoever recruits you is who gonna play you. So we got Will Muschamp came in. He was great too. But just when he get his recruits in, other recruits might not play as much, you know? So when Muschamp came in, I didn't really play that much. And I ended up actually going to my sophomore year, my first year with Will Muschamp, I broke my leg.
Okay.
And it took me off for 2 years. So what Muschamp doing is, you know, looking at the players like who I'm gonna use next year to be as a starter or put in rotation. I ain't have a chance because I'm balling this spring ball, and I break my leg and put me out for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's what
before transfer portal. I mean, do you have a shot? Did you think about?
If we had a transfer portal, I would have left for sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a transfer portal. If I would have left, I'd have sit out a year, or I would have had to go down division, maybe it's like HBCU or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. That's tough. I mean, mentally tough to stay with it. So you stayed. So sophomore, junior year, you were hurt or recovering.
Well, I ended up redshirting after my freshman year because I mean, let's talk. So my freshman year, where Herb was telling all the guys that he's gonna step down.
Yep.
We ended up like getting injured that freshman year, right? So we ended up saving our freshman year. I played 4 games, but I ended up getting my freshman year back.
Oh, got it.
Next year coming in, I was
of eligibility.
Yeah. So I was a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore, and I missed those 2 seasons. My redshirt junior year, I led the team in rushing, but then my senior year, I got benched the whole season.
Why?
No clue.
What?
No clue.
Who was running back then?
We had some great backs though. We had Kevin Taylor. He was a great back. We had Kevin Taylor's Fred Taylor's son.
Yeah.
We had Matt Jones. He's a great back, and we had this guy named Adam Lane, and a guy that's still playing pro ball actually named Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell special. He plays with the Minnesota Vikings, but he was special.
He's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
but I got benched my whole senior year. I ain't get no trouble. Just got benched.
Mentally, that had to have been.
Oh man, it was hard, bro. It was hard.
So when did you know you had a shot at the pro level? I mean, with a college career like that that's broken up that much, I guess such disjointed. You didn't follow a traditional path, right? Where you're coming out early, All-American, right? Alec came out junior year early, All-American, right? Like so, you had a different path to pro ball, right?
Yeah, but not only that path, but just the mental capacity and the mental things I had to go through of seeing like Alec. I'm just like how you said Alec, seeing Alec, a guy that you was compete with in high school on the top level. Y'all both top players in the state, or one of my close friends, Gary Peters. You see these guys you competed with, and they're getting drafted, and they're getting the best agents looking at them, and then you see yourself, and you came out as the top guy in Georgia, and guys that was right under you getting recruited to go to pros, and you don't have no statistics. I mean, you don't have no agents calling you. Agent that did call you, you call them back. They said they can't work with you because your draft grades don't look great. You don't like you have a career. Or in the meeting room, it might be jokes in the meeting room in college, like, you might have to get a job because I don't see you doing it. So my thing was, if God gave me a plan when I was a young kid, make it to the pros, I'm making it to the pros. So after every game in college my senior year, when the guys that was in front of me playing running back position, those guys that I was cool with playing their positions, after the game ended, they went to their room and probably went into the club that night. When I went back to my apartment, I put my cleats on, my shorts on, a hoodie on, and I worked out every Saturday. Every Saturday I worked out, sandpit every Saturday. In the summertime before the season started, I was training with the track team. I run the track every Saturday. Because my game wasn't going to be the Saturday of the season. My game was going to be pro day of 2015. So I was preparing myself if anything bull crap was going to happen that season. No matter what a coach could prevent me from playing, I make sure my body's going to be ready for the season.
So where's that come from? Where's that mentality? Was that instilled in you? Did you always have that? Or was that like a lesson learned? I
always had it. My dad was professional boxing.
Okay.
So he instilled it in me since I was a little kid. Like, he always say, hey, you the best I ever seen. You the best. And over the years in college when I wasn't playing and I lost my confidence, like even at night, sometimes I was crying like, man, what's going on? How I'm this top guy and I'm not doing nothing, And after so many nights, my dad was like, man, you still great. I'm like, Dad, stop saying that. How am I great? I don't have no stats. I have no touchdowns. Nobody saying my name. Nobody wearing my jersey at the game. No scouts are calling. I don't have no draft grade. So one night, what happened was I said, you know what? When I go back home to Atlanta, I'm going to go see my old park that I played at. I'm going to go to my old middle school where I played at. I'm going to go to my old high school, the old stadiums where I broke records at. So one weekend I drove home, I started walking different turfs, different grass fields, and I was praying. I said, God, I'm still great. I'm still great. And I remember I heard a word from me say, you are great. And that moment on, that's when I went to that summertime and I started grinding. I started chopping out all the things I've been through. Like, okay, people say he's not good. People say he lost it. And remember this, I'm the top guy for Georgia coming out.
Yeah.
Imagine people back home saying about me.
Yeah.
He was just a good player in high school. You got to go through all that. So, like, one thing I learned about Urban Meyer is he always say block the outside noise. So even now in life, I tell people block the outside noise and focus on what's within your heart. Whoever's in with me in the room, who's ever in that 2 foot box with me, and we all 2 feet in that one circle. If you 2 feet in, I'm 2 feet in.
Wait, what's 2 feet? The huddle?
2 feet means just like I'm committed all the way. No matter if negatives come, no matter what barriers might block your road. 2 feet is I'm all the way in. 1 foot out, one foot in. That means you can get thrown off and get distracted easy.
Yeah.
Well, if my 2 feet is in, your 2 feet is in, that means I can ride with you. That means if I'm committed, you committed. And we can't let each other go. So that moment on, when I went back home and I walked around my old high school, my old middle school, my old park, and old stadiums, I said, when I go back to school this whole summer, I'm literally going to train on the track every Saturday, and I'm going to train every day after the game, no matter if I play or not. And that was my journey.
So pro day, what happened?
I ran a 4.40.
So guys opened up there. Opened up there, right?
I got one team that called me after the draft, and that was Houston Texans.
So wait, did you go through the combine or just pro day at Florida?
I didn't get invited to the combine. Just pro day. Pro day at Florida was my
dude.
combine.
So you had a big chip on your shoulder.
Big chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life. from growing up and you going to high school, I thought life was going to be excel.
Yeah.
Top player in Georgia, magazines. Then when I get to college, it went like this. Then it went back like this.
Dude, good for you. Like mentally, that's such a, especially at the age you were at, right? You didn't have maturity and perspective yet.
Nah.
Right? I mean.
It was tough, bro. It was tough.
Yeah. And you were built and you knew one thing, right? And you knew winning and.
Built tough.
Yeah.
My foundation built tough.
Good for you.
I wasn't built tough at the time, but over time, so many wounds came. I had to get scabs, put Band-Aids on, and keep rolling. I became built tough over the process, but at the time, I was hurt.
That's a great. Oh, okay, so you do get basically Houston Texans pick you up undrafted, right? Undrafted free agent.
Two-day trial.
Okay, so how's that work? So some of this I'm naive to too, right? I'm learning as we've talked to more and more guys, like what practice squad really means, what undrafted really means, and then there's guys who are undrafted, and then there's another level, right?
Oh yeah, first round, second round, third round.
Yeah. But what's that look like? You go, Houston calls you and says, "Hey, we want to come have you work out."
Yeah.
And that's your shot, basically.
That's your shot. So it's called rookie minicamp, and rookie minicamp, you have draft picks. That's free agent.
Yep.
You have the draft pick. That's rookies. You have mandatory free agents. Mandatory free agents are guys that could have been drafted, but that wasn't drafted.
Okay.
So already they're already on the 90-man roster.
Yep.
So they just in rookie minicamp to just let the coach see the odds, but they're going to be on the 90-man roster. So right now in rookie minicamp, you only got like 3 spots that you can make to be a part of 90-man. So Bill O'Brien was like, he told them guys that's mandatory guys that's minicamp trials, this is our only shot. You got 2 days to do what you got to do. And those 2 days I did what I had to do. I made guys miss. I scored touchdowns, and Bill O'Brien put me in his office like, "Hey man, I didn't know who you was on our roster." He said, "But everybody," and of course I know who you are. He said, "I want to sign you to 90-man roster." It's not. He said, "It's not me. This don't mean you made the team, but you're on the team now." And I remember I cried. I called my mom and dad back home. I cried for like 10 minutes, and I was like, "But the journey's not done yet, right?"
Yeah. But it's a step.
It's a step though, right? But the thing about this is, I feel like what God did for me was everything I've been through in college. All the wounds I got, the Band-Aids I had to put over the wounds, they got me prepared for my NFL journey. So there's nothing that can get me down.
Yeah, you've already been through the worst. Yeah.
So what's next? That's why it is. Like, what's next? Like.
Yeah. All right. So you make it to the 90-man roster.
90-man roster.
Eventually, you make it to the full roster.
I got cut.
Initially.
A month later. Houston, Texas.
So cut meaning didn't make the practice squad, didn't make the 53-man roster.
So the practice squad didn't come just yet.
Okay.
So we had a guy named Jeffrey Pagan. He got injured during OTAs.
Okay.
So remember, after OTAs, so this is how football works. You got OTAs going for a little bit, then you have training camp.
Yep.
Training camp is where you make the team.
Right.
If you do good training camp, you make either the practice squad or you make the active roster. So I got let go before training camp. So, but Bill O'Brien did tell my agent, like, "Hey, you know what? We got to let him go because one of our starters got hurt. We got to bring another defensive lineman in because people don't understand, like, the last guy on an NFL roster, 90-man, is the first guy out if somebody get injured.
Right.
I was last man in. So once the guy got injured, they had to bring another D lineman in.
Yep. So
they sent me home, and then Washington and Houston, Texas called me for training camp.
Got it. Yeah. And that's your shot to make practice squad or 53-man roster.
And I chose to go to Washington.
Got it. And that's when they were still Redskins?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Redskins. Still the Redskins. Yeah.
Okay, and what happened? So you obviously made the roster.
Well, I balled in training camp. I mean, when I say ball, I didn't really ball. I had a decent training camp. I got a hit point in my third day in training camp. So literally, I had to go do some crazy stuff. I mean, I was taking ibuprofen every 10 minutes just to get through training camp. In the last preseason game, I'm glad they should have cut me after the third preseason game, but they didn't cut me. They kept me for the last preseason game. That's all God. And I ended up scoring the touchdown in the last preseason game. And I ended up having like 80 yards rushing. But it was a decent game, but it wasn't a great game. But in their eyes, they're like, you know what, Mack, he really know the playbook. He was injured, so, maybe let's cut him after the preseason and bring him back. So I guess that's what they was thinking. So I ended up getting released after preseason. But I came back in October. And in October, I was a different man.
Why?
I was scoring.
Healthy.
I was scoring every play.
Huh.
Every time I touched the ball, I was scoring.
What was the difference?
I was healthy.
Yeah.
And I was focused on, I knew the playbook now because I had time to go learn the playbook. And I was training.
Yeah.
With no money in my pocket. My dad was eating fried tilapia. I mean, not fried, I mean frozen tilapia. I was putting it in a little pot and boiling it. Because I remember before I got called back, go back to Washington, my dad was like, you know what? You might need to get a job until somebody call you because right now, this is the way things is, you might have to get a job. And the next hour, somebody called me, so I was thankful.
So you came a different path than a lot of guys, right? Alec's a great example. He came out first round draft pick. He gets a big signing bonus.
It's amazing, bro.
Yeah. So it's so fascinating to me, like where those things come from, like, right? Because that's just pure grind, right? I mean, that's pure grind, and there's so many obstacles that are in front of you, and you got a 1 in a million. Well, maybe not 1 in a million chance, but it's the percentages are small.
So I never seen a guy that didn't play his senior year that made an NFL roster.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics on that, but it can't be too many.
I think it's only like me and maybe 2 other people. That's what I feel, like, seriously.
And so summarize kind of your NFL career for us, because you bounced around a little bit. It wasn't like you had this 10-year storied career. It was very similar to your college career, right? You jumped from spot to spot, and you were fighting for inches everywhere you went.
You're right. And you know what? Actually, my pro career was more, I think it's more stable than my college career. I played 5 years pro, and people say that the limited years you play in the pros is 2, and I did 5. I did 3 in Washington, team that 3 in Washington.
Gave you a shot.
Yeah. And the thing about Washington is they ended up bringing me back, but the reason why my career got cut short, I got injured in Minnesota.
Okay.
So I tore my meniscus. Not meniscus, I tore my tendinosis tendon. It's a hamstring tendon, and I tore out the bone. And before I tore my tendon out the bone, I just got my biggest contract. And I was definitely going to make the 53-man roster because they wanted me, like, badly. Minnesota wanted me to be the top 3 backs in rotation. So I would have definitely got 8 years in the league, but it happened all the time to people. It's not an excuse.
Yeah.
You get injured, you get replaced. But, I mean, playing 5 years, I'm thankful. I played 3 in Washington, and I played 1 in Minnesota, and I had 1 in Oakland.
Alec tells me all the time, the NFL stands for not for long.
Not for long. But, like for me, I got credited seasons. Guys that got drafted first round, they get more than 3 years. I played more years than guys that got drafted.
Yeah.
And I beat out.
I feel like you're still proud of that.
Yeah, I'm proud. 5 years in, it's tough. And the thing about life is you use that milestone you accomplish to do more things. NFL gave me opportunity to get a scholarship to go back to school to get my MBA, get my PhD. So, like, I'm thankful for the NFL. NFL is a great organization, and they gave me opportunity to play. And I played 5 years. So
I'm a huge believer that, like, everybody's right where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And there's good and bad that happens, but it's part of your journey, and those experiences, that's what makes you who you are, right? And it's hard to see sometimes when you're in it and you're getting crushed and kicked in the teeth. But that's who you are supposed to be. That's the part that I think is always interesting, is people go through these hardships, but then when you have some perspective and you can look back and be like, oh, the reason I'm doing this is because I did that, and that. Yeah. So talk me through kind of the money, right? In Beyond Game, we're trying to teach some of the finance lessons, and you weren't a guy who came in, first round draft pick, big chunk of cash, where all the time, I would imagine, until you got that first big contract, you were grinding and pinching pennies.
I'm tell you, so my first, I never seen a big contract. Like a lot of guys, the first round picks are guys that got the multi-year contracts. My contract always was like, if you make the team. So I never got over 500,000.
Okay.
So like my first big deal for me was practice squad money.
Yep.
I'm getting 14,000 every 2 weeks. That's a lot of money. I never seen money like that before. The most money I seen was in college, and I was getting Pell Grant. Pell Grant was $2,400 a semester.
It was before NIL.
Before NIL. And so like seeing $14,000 every 2 weeks was a lot of money. But the next year when I got the active roster, when I made the active roster team making 35 every 2 weeks, that's when the money, I'm like, wow, this is a lot of money. But then you see another guy like Deshaun Jackson contract, $335 every 2 weeks. So now you're looking like, wow, I need to get this. How can I get that next contract? So, but for me.
So wait, you get that first $14,000 check, right? And what I understand is literally envelope in the locker. Unless, even if you got direct deposit, you're getting the pay stub in the locker.
Yeah, pay stub.
So you open up the envelope. You've gone through the journey you've gone through to get to that point. What does that feel like? You open it up. You see the pay stub. I don't know if you had direct deposit or not, or maybe it's just a check. But you open it up and you're like, I just got 14 grand.
I did.
What does that feel like inside of me? Is it like a validation? Like, how? Just walk me through like that reaction, and then how? Then what? Then
for me, it was like once I see my first check on practice squad, it was definitely validation, and it just took me back to college. Like, I ain't supposed to get this check.
Yeah.
Deep down in my heart, I knew I was supposed to get it, but I really ain't supposed to get this check. Like, I didn't play at all like that in college. So when I first got that check on practice squad, I was like, wow, I'm thankful. But
it's so interesting. Like, your perspective is so different, right? Because of how you got to there.
Yeah.
Right. You're so grateful for that 14 grand where you could have been bitter. Like, looking at Deshaun Jackson across the, sitting on the other side of the locker room. It's just such a diverse thing. That's why I've asked Alec about it a lot. Like, do you have this jealousy, envy between, a quarterback, 100 million right? If at Washington, who was there? Alex Smith?
Well, I played him for one season, but we had Kirk Cousins.
Oh, right. When Kirk was there for 8 years, right? So he made big boy money at Washington.
The last 2 years he did, we had the franchise tag.
Okay.
Before that, he was a 5th-round pick.
Yeah. So he was a grinder too.
He was a grinder.
Yeah, he's good.
Kirk was a grinder. I love Kirk. Kirk was a grinder, bro.
So how did you think about it at that point? So now you got a little bit of stability. You can pay rent, eat groceries. You didn't have to eat frozen tilapia every night.
No. I was ready. I was.
But what was the mindset at that point, just from a money perspective? Like, how did you treat it? And maybe a good place to start that conversation is, how did you grow up? Like, how was money talked about? If I'm at the kitchen table with you and your parents, your dad, do you have brothers and sisters too?
I have 2 sisters.
Okay, so if you guys are at the table talking about money, like, what was the perception of it?
We never talked about money growing up.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I didn't know nothing about financial literacy until, like, previously. Over the last few years. We didn't talk about money. Growing up, we was just talking about fun things like movies and keeping the family together. My parents got divorced, so other than, like, you see your parents arguing and stuff like that or anything like that, or we just trying to, make ends meet. That's the main thing we heard. We didn't really hear about money moving. We didn't hear about credit cards or debit cards. Growing up in my house, you hear about don't be in credit card debt. That's the only thing you hear, like, or
it's not bad advice. That's good advice.
So I never heard what a credit card could do for you. I never heard of, like, what can credit do for you to benefit you as a business. I never heard of LLCs growing up. I mean, I never heard of anything until, like, the last 3 to 4 years. Well, last 6 years. Yeah, since when I started playing football.
All right, so then how did you know what to do with that money? Like, what was your mindset of, I got to save and scrimp? Or were you thinking, hey, that next contract's right around the corner, I'm going to be good?
You know what? I didn't really know what I was going to do with the money. I wasn't really spending because I'm not a guy that on like partying. I'm not a guy that buy jewelry. I'm not buying all the clothes. It's not me. I don't go to clubs, really. I might go to club twice in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, like, spending money like that. But the money I did spend on was, like, food. I love food. And my main thing was when I first got my first check, I was helping my family out. My main thing was, like, they've been with me this whole time, going to all my games to help my family out. Me being 32 now, my birthday was last Sunday. Me being 32 now, if I was 23 again, I'll tell myself, the money you making on this roster, just use 10% of that. Pay your rent. Put money into real estate. Put money in bonds. That's what I tell myself when I was younger.
So maybe, Mac, put us back there, right? Your first practice squad contract, and even maybe as you go into first 53-man roster, you start to make a little bit of money, or you're comfortable, right?
Yeah.
You're paying for rent, you're paying for groceries, you're helping out your family. How did you think about, like, your longevity in the league? Like, did you think, hey, I have a run here, or was it always, I'm not sure where my next paycheck's coming from?
I never felt like I was longevity. For me, my first practice squad check was in October. That was my rookie year.
Okay.
Season ends in, December? So I maybe get, 6 practice squad checks? And now you got January all the way through the summer to make the team. Remember, I'm the 5th guy on the roster. I'm in the 5th running back on the depth chart. So the next training camp, I'm the last guy going in the preseason. So I got to make the team. Again, I got to go through the same process. But by that time now, I have a little bit more money in my account. So now I could, pay for my treatment. I could, eat a little bit better, as far as better nutrition. And I came in that preseason, and I led the whole preseason rushing. And that's how I made an active roster.
Okay. And that's still Washington.
Washington, yeah.
Yep.
But they always tell you all the time, is like, you don't have enough money to invest into different businesses right now. That's the myth. You don't have enough money to invest in business. So just save your money up, and after the season, or maybe when you get your big game check, then you invest. But looking back at it now, me being 32, and I'm telling myself I was 21 or 23, that's false. If you're making 35 to 40 grand every 2 weeks, you could take at least 6% of that money and put it into something. You could put, in real estate wise, hard money loan. Hard money loan back then, you get maybe 8% interest, maybe 1 point. So maybe you need 20 grand to buy a house worth $160,000. That's one check.
Mm-hmm.
You can do 3 checks like that. So I could have been purchasing properties every check.
Were you thinking that way, or that's just now you talking?
Now, I didn't know about that. I always thought that when you purchase a real estate property, you need the whole purchase price. you need 300,000 or you need 200,000. And me only making 430, and after tax, I'm only bringing about 180 to 200. How can I do that? And I still got to help my family out. So I didn't have the financial literacy. I didn't know those avenues of how to obtain real estate properties. And like I said, again, being 32, if I tell myself at 23 or 24, them checks I'm making 35 every 2 weeks, I could have been buying properties all over Georgia.
Yeah, but this is sort of the issue, right? And where beyond the game, this is why we're doing it. Is nobody knows, right? Unless you have a mentor or a family or somebody who puts their arm around you and is saying those things to you, right? You learn them eventually. But this is what Alec and I talk about all the time. Like NFL is the exact opposite of the real world. NFL guys make their money from 20 to 30 when they have no education, no experience really. And then they got to make that last, if you're successful at it, from 30 to 90, right? If you don't want to work.
Well, yeah.
And in the real world, for us normal people, right? We don't make any money from 20 to 30. And then maybe 30, 35, you start to figure out, oh, these are my earning years from 35 to 60, right? But then you have more experience. You got people around you that you can go tap into. And that's the challenge for a lot of the athletes that we've talked to is they just don't know.
It is challenging. I like what you just said just now too. Your earnings can be between 30 and 65, right? So if an athlete finishes playing professional sport at age 28 to 32, what do their resume look like? Professional football. So like you don't have no internship. With a lot of athletes, it's a lot of athletes that do get great education in college. They do have great degrees, but I know for me, they want you to stay eligible in college. So the degree I chose wasn't like a great degree. You feel me? So like if I want to go in a corporate world, my degree can't get me a job. So that's why I went back to school to get my MBA. So like now, even if I do have my MBA now, I got 2 MBAs, but I'm trying to compete with somebody like you that worked in maybe 6 different jobs. You have different certifications. You got experience. So how can I get hired at 32 right now? And I don't have no experience. I got a degree, but I have no experience. So it's a battle athletes face. You can't find a job. Then if you didn't do right by investing, where do you go to next?
So looking back on it, right? Take the MBA out. I do want to dig into that, like how you got to that path and why you went down that path. But what can you do as a pro athlete? I look at it and say, look, as a pro athlete, people want to know you.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And you can leverage that, even though you're 23, 24, 25, but you're surrounded by wealth, not only in the locker room, but there are people in and around the pro leagues at all levels, right? Is there something you could have done at that point to kind of leverage maybe some of the mentorship? Maybe it's in the locker room where there are guys that you go to the locker room and be like, hey, what are you doing?
As a guy that's trying to get the contract like Ogletree has, Alec has, it's like, I'm not thinking about business at the time. I'm trying to see how can I get on his level? How can I get a multi-year contract? So that's the distraction, or that's the battle you go through in the locker room when you're a younger guy trying to get the $1 million contract. You try to see how is he doing it, what is he doing in training, what is he eating, who's he networking with. And how you said before, it is a lot of connections because during the season, we got so many networking events on Saturdays or off season, and you could network with like Booz Allen and EY, like different companies. I remember these
corporate sponsors.
And I wish I would have did more of those, like externships after the season, internships. I wish I would have did more of those, like to see exactly who's the guys, how they moving their money. For me, one guy that took me on this wing was Vernon Davis. I watched Vernon Davis my last 2 years with him, and he was like
tight end, right? Tight end, at Redskins.
Yes, when I tell you, he's probably one of the most like he's a philanthropist, without a doubt. He's acting. He got parking lots in D.C. He told me recently that he'd go to a convention in Vegas, and he bought like people that had snacks, right? Like beef jerky. People that's invented beef jerkies and they sell it to stores later on. I think he bought one for he put $75,000 into it and they got a price for like $5 million last year. So now he made money from that. So like the connection from older guys is definitely beneficial for you. And just being in my shoes, I'm trying to stay on the team every week.
Yeah.
So my mindset, I'm like, I got to make the check the next week to help my family out. So that was my mindset. Like, how can I make it past next Tuesday? You know how guys on the bubble is every Tuesday got a guy work out in your position. So that's what I was worried about the whole time. And I always thought that, I wish I knew more about how money moves. If somebody would have told me like I could use hard money or lines of credit or business credit to purchase homes instead of use all my capital to buy one, I would have bought over 100 homes when I was playing. It only cost $15,000 back then to purchase one property.
Yeah.
So
So did you have a financial advisor along the way, or what?
My last year's playing, I had one guy at UBS. I was gonna work with him. That's when I started, making that pivot in the NFL. I went from Washington. Now I'm second string on the depth chart, going into Minnesota for my next season, and that's when I got my first financial advisor. So I signed for $750,000. But they told me if I do what I got to do, that preseason, $750 just security now. I can get a 2-year, $8 million. So now a lot of advisors, agents calling me. I remember I talked to Drew Rosenhaus. It was like one of their company. I was talking to different agents that hire agents now because now I'm making more noise in the league. And I got hurt a week later. So that put me back out there. I got hurt April 18th. First day we got new turf in Minnesota. I tore my leg. My cleat got caught on the turf and it pulled my tendon.
Same one, the hamstring?
That's the hamstring tendon I was talking about.
Oh, that was
same one, yeah. Yeah. So I got hurt that day and I really feel like that was my time to pivot and like I'm about to finally get my $1 million contract. I said I'm about to finally get it. And that's when I had a financial advisor, but I ended up missing that season. I got a injury settlement and I went home. So I never ever had a chance to make a lot of money in the pro ball. So I started like that off season. Well, that's into that season. That's when I started thinking about pivoting to a career.
And so what's that transition like? I mean, what were you thinking at that moment? Because that's a big injury to come back from. There's probably less years ahead of you than there were behind. Than what you came from. I mean, you're what 27, 28 at that point.
27.
Yeah, and for a running back, you're on the tail end.
You old 28. You old running back. So for me, that all season, well, it was like winter. So I went home. I told my coach, I had to go home. I told my agent, like, listen, there's no reason me being in Washington right now. There's no reason. I can't run. I'm on practice squad and I really could get healthy to run in practice. They want to activate me, but now mentally it's eating me alive now. I need to go home. So I went home and I was like, I might have to retire. But in my heart, I said, let me give it one more chance. So I went in my savings. I had a lot of money saved up. I went in my savings and I went all in. I was paying the doctors. I was paying about $3,000 a week on doctors. Trying to
do what? Rehab?
Rehab, yeah. And I had a lot of money saved up. $3,000 a week on doctors. Massage therapists. IT. Not IT, but PT. Dry needling. I'm flying different states to go get chiropractic work. I'm trying different diets out, and I finally went back old school training with my old weight training coach. So all that money I spent on doctors, all I had to do is go back to my old trainer. What he told me was, Mack, you're going to go through this pain. He said, it's going to hurt when you run. But what have you not been through this pain? You lost your grandma. You lost your cousin. You lost your best friend. What have you not been through this pain? He said, so whenever you run, think about those people that you lost. So that's when I started training old school.
It's like Rocky.
Like seriously.
It's like Rocky 4.
And I spent almost like $80,000 all season for nobody, no joke. I went to training camp with the Raiders and I balled in training camp. But I didn't make the team. I finished number 3 rusher in the whole preseason. I didn't make the team on 80%. But I know I should have made the team, but I think I didn't make the team because the injury they seen on my resume. But I balled at training camp. That's when I seen you at training camp. In Oakland, we had a joint practice. I seen Alec out there, and I balled at training camp. I balled out. But I went all in. I said, if I'm going to go all in, 2 feet in, let's do it. I'm going to spend the money I got in my savings account. And that's what happened. But at the same time, I was already pivoting into real estate. Yeah.
How did you come to real estate? Like who taught you?
Late at night, it was like 2 a.m, and I was on YouTube. I was on YouTube typing in like real estate gurus, and this guy named Andrew Cordell came up on a real estate commercial, and it's like I got a 2-day event coming up in Atlanta in Sandy Springs soon. So that was the owner of the commercial, like 2-day event. So I paid for the event. I went there, and we fell in love with what I had going on. So he started mentoring me. He told me what I need to do for real estate, and ever since then, that's when I jumped in heavy.
So what's that look like? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm doing single family. Doing single family homes. But single family for me, flipping houses, that's real estate, but I think anybody could do that. You could be an athlete, still play ball, flipping homes. So I want to be really recognized as a real estate investor. So I went back to school to get my MBA in real estate development. So right now, I got my P&P certification, project management. I just sent in my paperwork to the Secretary of State to get my general contract license. So my goal, I want to have my P&P certification, my general contract license, and I got my MBA in real estate development. So I'm pivoting now. This whole year, after I sold my last 2 flips back in April, May, I took a break from real estate. I said, let me focus on getting my certifications, getting my license. And I want to pivot to February of 2024 and I'm start building. So I'm getting into building now. I want to do some towns. That's my goal.
Okay. Gotcha. Good for you.
So acquire some land and build towns.
So did someone say, hey, real estate's a great way to create wealth? Or where did that come from? Because if you didn't have it growing up, or there's not somebody, I mean, it sounds like you guys went and did one of the courses, which is always good. I mean, look, some of those courses, they sell you a grand dream and like everything, there's no quick rich quick schemes. Like they don't work.
No.
So, most people underestimate the amount of work going into it. I mean, you went all in again, right? That's the reoccurring theme with you is you're going to get your MBA development, right? Like you're not just tiptoeing into this stuff.
No, I can't tiptoe because I applaud guys like you. We play pro ball, but I feel like people that really build their career from a young man to now another age, I think it's amazing.
Another age.
No,
that means old.
No,
that means old age. I get it. That's okay.
I ain't missing another age.
It's okay.
Just as the older you get, the more mature we get as men or women. You see people the way how hard they work in corporate of like doing internships in college, doing externships, then working at this job as a salesman. Now they the project manager. Like it's a tough road. Football is if you are a great player, you get picked up. But the corporate road is even harder than football. Because one thing about I respect is if I do it again, would I choose football or would I choose going corporate? I love the game of football, so I would choose football. But if I want to have a stable career, I'll choose corporate because corporate is in football you make money in the short term. Corporate is you're gonna keep making money the more you get on your resume, the more certifications you get, the more business owners you meet. So like that's why I tell people all the time, it's like, listen, man, just because you're a millionaire playing professional football, don't look down on somebody making $300,000 a year because I guarantee you in 3 years they make way more money than you making. They got way more investments than you have. Because now they pivoting talking to different people at meetup spots. They going to different networking events and now they got investments. They got liquid. They have
assets.
We just have money and we buy no chains, buy no cars. So like I tell people all the time, like use your resources. Really figure out what you want to do in life. Like my thing is, reason why I went back to get my MBA because I wanted to get my finance degree because I wasn't good at math in high school and undergrad. So I wanted to prove to myself I could be great at math again. So I got my MBA in real estate development because I love real estate, but I wanted to get my MBA in finance just to prove myself I can accomplish that goal. And now I'm getting my PhD. I just want to make my people proud to get a PhD.
You gonna be a doctor?
I got a year and a half left.
Dr. Brown?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Good for you. What's a PhD in?
Organization and management with a focus on leadership. So more consulting roles, effective leadership. How can if I talk to the CEO at Bank of America, how can I make him an effective leader? How can I make him more effective in communicating to his employees? That's what I like doing now. Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's incredible. I mean, not only have you pivoted, but you pivoted big, right? MBA, going to get your PhD, and chasing real estate's a great way to do it. I think that the lesson for me, right, is just the consistency of how you approach things is going to be why you're successful moving forward, right? In any aspect that you take, because to your point of I'm in the 2-foot circle, you got 2 feet in the circle, you're going.
You gotta go.
And that's the piece. It's hard for people to understand that, right? Is the same skill set that makes you elite athletes. And look, some of it's God given, right? I could train really hard. I'm never going to run a 4.4. You know what I mean? So some of that's God-given talent, but the work that you put in to achieve what you've achieved 5 years in the NFL is incredible, right? And that same thing translates to everything.
It is.
And it's different, right? You may not be going in and, training weights and running 4 or 5 hours a day, but it's the same thing. It's little nuancy things and improving on those things every day that you look back and you're like, oh, look, I chopped a little bit of wood for 20 years. Look at this big pile of wood I got behind me.
And that's why I say I applaud you. People that started in corporate world or the success you have now, that wasn't overnight.
Sure.
You went through some heartbreaks. You went through some...
Still.
Yeah.
Still.
And you look at things now, it's like, as an athlete, athletes got to understand, like, and the real world is right around. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody doing things that you might want to get into, talk to them. Shake their hand. A lot of times, a lot of athletes feel like It's a lot of sharks out there. We got money. They want our
True,
money.
but that's true too.
But it is true. But same time is in the corporate world, it's a lot of business owners that can help you be successful as you are at playing pro ball. You can become a CEO of the company. You can become a project manager. Project management, I think, salaries around 125 to 140. If you get you get a couple more certifications with it, you make 160. Data science is another big thing that's blown up around the world now. Data science, data analytics, 165 to 175. Like, coding is 165. It's so many jobs that you can get that you could pivot in, or even if you are in private equity.
Mm-hmm.
If you building the income up by multi-family, you're on the GP side, like you can make money in that. So so many things you can pivot and make money from. And I think people just gotta understand that it's out there. If I can put my pants on, we all put our pants on the same way. Why can't I do the same thing you're doing?
Yeah,
but it's foreign right now, but it is tough, and it is tough. But for me right now, I won't lie to you. After my last 2 properties this year, I just needed to take a break from the game. That's why I said before, flipping properties, it is good money, but in 2022, interest went from 3% to 8%. So I was using hard money. So I'm now paying $2,000 a month on one property.
It's a heavy carry cost.
$400 a month on another property. And I still got to take care of my family. So money keep accumulating. Boom, 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 right? So I said, you know what? Once I get out these 2 properties, I'm going to take a break. But I'm not going to get out of it. But I'm going to come back with more weapons on me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Batman, more gadgets. I'm going to come back with my GC license. I'm going to come back with my project management certification. I'm going to come back different. And I'm going to come back doing different things real estate. Let me get creative. Instead of just flipping it, let me refinance it and rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
Or instead of just doing a single family, let me do stack home. Let me do townhomes. Let me get 2 acres of land or 4 acres of land and let me build 24 townhomes.
There's a great quote that really influenced me, which was, big deals and small deals are the same amount of work. You just make less money on small deals.
I agree.
Right? You're putting in the same 60 hours, 40 hours a week, whatever it is. You're doing it on a small project, you make small money. And look, there's risk associated with the larger projects, but you're spending the same amount of time, same amount of energy. Might as well do it on a big deal and make a big check on the back end, right? And I think that's a big mindset shift for people. Like you talk about it, it's the willingness to be uncomfortable and jump into things where you don't know everything.
I love what you said.
But you're gonna figure it out, right? There's no better way to learn things than get in the middle of it, and then you have to figure it out. You got to swim your way out, right? And those struggles are at all levels. Reliant we're the 17th largest storage operator in the United States, right?
It's huge, man.
It's a big we're a small company, but our portfolio is over $1 billion. We screw stuff up all the time, and we're still putting ourselves in positions where we're like, we're not really sure how that's going to work out, but we know we got a skill set. We know we're going to work really hard. Once we're in it, we'll work our way through. And I think that's a big piece for a lot of people pivoting, is just starting somewhere, getting in, and then saying, all right, I'll use those same skill sets that the reason I ran a 440, you put in the work, you can do that with almost anything.
And I appreciate you even saying what you just said. You probably didn't realize you said it, but you said y'all $1 billion portfolio, right? And I think a lot of small business owners should hear that. Y'all still making mistakes, but
all the time,
you gotta figure it out. And being a small business owner, minority owner, I feel like we make mistakes every day in my business. And I'm like, wow, what we gonna do next to pivot from this? And here you saying $1 billion portfolio company performance, doing the same thing, y'all going through the same struggle. It's huge.
We had 260 employees, and all we do all day is self-storage. That's it. And we still screwed up.
Yeah.
A lot. And, there's, do you ever read Shoe Dog, Phil Knight?
No, I heard about it, but I never read it, not yet.
So it's basically the story of Nike. It's an incredible book, but essentially what I took about it, they were right on the fringe of destruction, even after Jordan signed. They were a real company, and they were almost not making payroll week to week. This was a real company. And then basically the chapter in the book was, and then I took it public, and Phil Knight's writing the book, right? So I took it public, and then I was worth $160 million. But up until that point, they were grinding every week like they were, a guy in a pizza shop, right? But it was Nike. And it was Nike that we knew, right? At that point, they were a big brand, but it's never easy. Everybody only sees the outside, and they're like, oh, look at that big company.
What's going on?
Everything's going great. Well, yeah, but there's so much work that goes into that. And that doesn't matter if you're flipping one or two houses or you're buying a $10 billion portfolio. There's so much work that the people inside are doing that. And I think it's important, like you said, to 22-year-old you, that I wanted to circle back to that, is those networking opportunities you have. People want to be around professional athletes. And yes, are some of them sharks and probably have the wrong incentive? 100%. But there's guys.
That's definitely, and you should be able to realize what's going on after you get their contact and y'all talk a couple times. You should know us a shark. Let me leave them alone. But at least had the opportunity to be able to realize who's a shark, who's not a shark.
Yeah.
And as you said a few minutes ago about Nike was on the brink of failing, and that's why I told my partner, like, I got to take a break from my company for a while. That's why I said I was focused on my education this year. So I took like 4 or 5 months without making no money, just savings. I had to pay pay bills off savings, right? Because what I wanted to do was I needed to learn all the risks that's involved in real estate. Being in my PhD, it make you think much more analytical about things, So I wrote a paper on Bed Bath Beyond. Bed Bath Beyond was a giant retail store for years. The CEO didn't know how to pivot the e-commerce market. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stores like Walmart and Amazon turned them up in sales. Bed Bath Beyond was overpriced their items. The e-commerce store was a performance. Now they went bankruptcy. Now all the stores closed. Buy Babies closed. So I see stores like that closing. Even now, I wrote a paper recently on Best Buy. Best Buy closing a lot of their large stores and they building small locations to be more innovational. So now I'm looking like, okay, if I'm in the real estate market, flipping properties, if I don't sell my property, I'll lose money. So if you do statistics on everything, newer homes sell 20% higher than a flip home, renovate a home. I need to build. If I build a house, it's probably going to sell before it's finished getting built, right? Also, multifamily is much more money than single family.
Sure.
Commercial. So that's why I say, you know what? Let me take these 5 to 6 months and focus on all the risks, financial risks, physical risk, mental risk. So that's why I want to do these lessons. And now I'm coming out now.
Let me give you one more piece of advice, and then we'll wrap this up. I appreciate you being so gracious with your time. Go find the company that you want to be like and go work for them for a couple of years, right? Because you have a great resume. I mean, you could tell the story that you told us today about how you got to where you got. People are going to be compelled by that. Someone will give you a shot. So if you want to go develop multifamily, go work for the best multifamily developer in Atlanta. Spend a few years and dig in. Think of it as education. You're earning a salary, so maybe helps cover your lifestyle costs, but it's like going back to college, right? It's when you have the ability to take that experience and then internalize it, you spend a few years and you're like, all right, I know how to do this now. And it takes the risk level down another level.
I agree.
Because you can do it on somebody else's dime,
I agree. That's why now, like I tell my guys, my team, like I'm going to just build a single family right now. But it is crazy you say that, 'cause I do want to work for a multifamily. I really want to build multifamily complexes. I want to build like 100 units. I can get on the GB side and raise capital easy, but I really want to be the sign out front, like that's the builder, So that's why I'm getting my GC license and things like that. But get my PMP certification it give me the chance to work for huge companies like you just named, like Schultz Construction,
Sure.
But I'm gonna continue to do my real estate because I'm flipping. Flipping is good money,
Sure.
Or new single family homes not too hard as long as you got a good, good builder and you got great guys that can move pretty fast. The team you trust is pretty easy. But doing multifamily, that's a whole different monster. And that's what I want to get into. So I'm gonna continue my business, but I do want to work for multifamily as well because, like I said, I got 24 hours a day. I only sleep 4 hours a day, so I really got 16. I'm ready to roll.
Dude, you gotta sleep more.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Sleep is your health.
Yeah.
Mack.
I sleep about 6 hours a day. Yeah, I sleep 6.
I'd be a mess. When you get older, you'll see you'll have to sleep more.
18 hours I'm working.
Good for you. Yeah. Mack, thank you so much. I appreciate you spending the time. Your story's incredible. And look, don't lose what you've got, right? What got you to this exact point is going to get you to wherever you want to go.
Sure. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, everybody, taking the time.
Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Game. Please like, subscribe, comment on your favorite platform. It helps others find the show.
Special shout out to Open Heart Media, who has helped produce Beyond the Game. Check them out at openheartmediaco.com.